We just got a bunch of new info regarding Spider-Man Brand New Day, which begins filming in Glasgow today. So I'm going to try to connect all the dots, figure out what the plot is, the villains, and how Punisher and Hulk could fit into this all. So the first thing we got was this image posted by director Dustin Daniel Cretton's assistant of his wall in his office. And Feige, before promptly taking this down with his sniper, did confirm that Dustin Daniel Cretton had a bunch of Spider-Man comic book covers on his wall that he was trying to recreate. And these are the two we saw in that image in a better look. And we see here that he's fighting Boomerang and Scorpion, which are two very D-list, almost Z-list assassin mercenary type villains. One throws boomerangs with deadly precision, the other one has poison knives in his boots and he kicks people with them. But the weird thing about this is those two villains were already rumored to be in this movie at a Disney merchandise conference, along with Tombstone and Scorpion, which makes those predictions seem a lot more real. Well, I think they were all hired by the mayor of New York himself, Wilson Fisk. I think the movie's probably going to open with a montage of him defeating them all, putting them in prison, but then when Fisk becomes mayor, he lets them all out and makes them his own personal team. And that's because in the Devil's Reign storyline that the whole Fisk becoming mayor and outlawing vigilantes is based off of, he does indeed hire a bunch of supervillains to be his own personal team, which is where I think Punisher fits in, because he's going to be clashing with Spider-Man because he's just going to want to kill them because that's what he always does, but even more so now that you can't even lock them up because they work for the government and they'll just get out again. And we know that they're closing nearly 60 roads in Glasgow to film this big live-action set-piece fight scene, which is going to be pretty giant. And it's rumored that this will be Spider-Man vs. Punisher versus a DODC transport convoy. This is how I think this is all going to pull together. The transport convoy will be all these supervillains hired by Fisks. Spider-Man and Punisher both want to stop them, but then they're going to get into their own fight over the kill rule, and Spider-Man will end up protecting them, and he's like, no, we got to kill them, and it'll all go through like that. But there's one more piece of this puzzle that needs to be solved, and that's what's Hulk's role in this movie going to be. And yes, I know it's not totally confirmed, but let's just play along and say it is. Because in the Brand New Day comic book storyline, there's this mutated gamma growth hormone that a bunch of crime lords like Fisk and Tombstone are selling as drugs, and Spider-Man and Punisher are both trying to get it off the streets in their own ways. This could very easily involve Hulk, though, because it's a gamma-related problem, and he's like the gamma-mutated guy. Could also be another point in the story where Spider-Man and Punisher are at odds before this gamma growth hormone ends up turning Smart Hulk back into Savage Hulk, and they gotta work together to stop him. But of course, those are just my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments. Did I cook and just figure out the whole plot of the movie? And don't forget to follow.